Welcome to a new Liftinstituut expert session. In this series of short video discussions, experts from all over the world share their knowledge, experience, and views on a variety of vertical transportation subjects. Today we'll be talking about buildings of the future, and joining us from Dubai is Fulya Ayyildiz, Architectural Coordinator for Solutions by Liftinstituut. Welcome, Fulya.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us what the latest developments are in buildings? Like just in the short term, what are we looking at for the new architecture and the new vertical transportation?
To start with a perspective, we can maybe talk about 2000s. 2000s was about exceeding the limits. There was a competitive atmosphere. Countless high-rise buildings packed into a very small geographical space. Now, a lot of focus is put on generating cleaner energy for a sustainable future. We have noticed that we are able to reduce our costs dramatically by changing the way we build. And we are now hearing lots of terms like photovoltaic panels, green buildings, and LED, energy efficient solutions. But today, I think one of the most important developments are around how we build our buildings, the technology, the tools to create them. For example, they create a huge difference. Today, one of the most important things may be BIM technology, building information modeling. Now we are forming and carving and building with this technology. It provides much more efficient design, and we also use digital twin technology. It creates a virtual representation of a building that collects real-world information about the structure via sensors. Monitoring our buildings with these sensors helps us to collect huge data, and it also provides many improvements in short term. And we're able to make predictions, and we're always collecting and providing data. I think that creates the huge difference. Also, augmented reality. Now we're talking about augmented reality, which allows us to visualize the buildings. And I think 3D printing solutions are really effective. We're actually using these tools and creating much more efficient buildings right now. These are short-term effects of these tools.
That's very interesting, and that's a lot to consider. Moving long-term, what are we looking at? For example, are we looking at demographic changes that we have to take into account, or what other long-term concerns are there?
Yeah. Once again, to be able to envision the future, first we have to comprehend today's dynamics. For looking today, we have to understand the past, but for the future, we have to comprehend all dynamics. We're living in an Anthropocene era, so where's the room for the future? Even today, more than half of us lives in urban areas, but by 2050, it will be almost 70% every year, the global population. So we have to think about what will be the impact once cities are full like this, and once cars become driverless. So mobility access will gain more importance. I think we'll see relatively low-rise buildings in the future. They will dominate the lands instead of high-rise buildings, and we'll see assisted living for the Asian demographics of the countries, especially in Asia. Reducing car traffic will gain much more importance since population increases and we require much more land to produce and to live in. So reaching buildings will transform accordingly. I think roads will be electrical and autonomous for the future, and never before has there been so much need for space. We're living in this period of extreme urbanization right now. For example, we'll need to build as many buildings as we can in Africa in the next 20 years, as have been built in Europe in the last 200 years.
Wow.
So these are demographics, and that we'll work with.
That's amazing. And yeah, that's a dizzying amount of information for us all to ponder. And you mentioned the Anthropocene era. I was going to ask about sustainability and what are the concerns there with material technology, architecture, or anything?
I think our main focus will have to shift from gaining more rates and gaining more money than to the understanding of the pollution. I think we began to understand that building structures with thousands of pounds of concrete and steel and other materials is an important issue and a major contributor to pollution and energy use.
Yeah.
In order to reduce that problem, we need some innovations around how we build our buildings. This is where net zero and green buildings come in. And when we talk about sustainability, we'll talk about locally derived materials. It's very important to focus on them in first place. But also for new material technology, they are actually based on the efficiency, increasing the efficiency of the existing materials from natural disasters and sheer costs to struggles to keep up with demands while maintaining its output. To address some of these challenges, many innovative firms are developing a generation of new building materials. So these materials are being engineered to be smarter and stronger, self-sustaining, sleeker, and cleaner while producing them. So I can give a few examples for these materials. They are able to change how we build, how we design our buildings. For example, self-healing concrete, and which imitates the automatic healing of the body. And light-emitting concrete is a type of smart and multifunctional concrete that possesses the ability of trapping solar energy. So when it becomes more common, this will create a dramatic difference in terms of costs, in terms of the environment by eliminating highways, roads, bicycle lanes. Maybe translucent wood is very important to consider because there is a possibility that it will supersede the plastics. So it's really important. And concrete bricks, we'll be talking about concrete bricks that which we call breathe brick. They have an internal filtration system that removes heavy elements in the air, so it's very efficient for natural ventilation.
Amazing. That's very cool. Yeah, what are the trends regarding people movement itself or crowd management? You know, why are these fields more important moving into the future?
I think post-COVID helped, COVID era helped. But today, there are many layers in the city and there are many layers in our buildings. It's not simple as before. So we have to provide safety and security for these layers. Every day we see how we need alternative forms of urban mobility. It's becoming increasingly urgent in the parts of heavily congested roads. So the movement and crowd management helps us about maybe evacuation, maybe about health issues, and as I've told you, safety and security. So these subjects are very important to consider.
Yeah. Moving, just looking far into the future, decades, if not more, will vertical transportation exist? Or how close are we to Star Trek, where you can have an elevator that takes you horizontally and vertically and everywhere you want to go? Or what do you envision?
We were able to build such skyscrapers because of the vertical transportation. Cities were like Shanghai, just because of the vertical transportation industry and the cars. So I think the movement through space is always inspiration for the space itself. Just as it is flat in a car city, our movement is flat in a car city, and we tend to make more vertical movements in an elevator city. So that's exactly the same mobility technologies serve as the input and inspiration for the design. We have long recognized that the industry can only remain sustainable by providing new solutions, and the future of our cities depends on our willingness to rethink established structures. So I think vertical transportation will adapt to these improvements in the technology. We'll see much more flexible buildings. So these flexible buildings will adapt themselves to the changing conditions. You know, the world is changing so rapidly, and the urban areas are very valuable and to be so static. So as well, vertical transportation will adapt itself to these flexible buildings. We'll see a combination of horizontal and vertical in 3D transport, and we'll see different kinds of designs through the future.
Oh, that's great. It's exciting to think about. And lastly, what will all these changes mean for safety? How do you see that modifying?
Yeah, as I mentioned, increased safety of our buildings and our community is very important. Some of the biggest tech companies in the world, like Microsoft, are investing heavily in mega projects to build smart, sustainable cities. And in smart and sustainable cities, the main focus will be about safety. By safety, I mean safety of the buildings and safety of the community. Everything will, we will have sensors all over the space, and we'll collect data anonymously, and this will help a lot for us for safety. It will prevent some maybe unexpected disasters, and we'll have lots of opportunities to keep our buildings and communities safe.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for having this vision for the future, and thank you for joining us, and thank you at home for watching this Liftinstituut expert session. You can find more videos just like this on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to Liftinstituut, and let us know below if you have ideas for a future video that you would like to see. We'll see you at the next Liftinstituut expert session.